It's Tuesday, September 21st, 2021. I want to get right into this video today. A lot to talk about. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Share this video. Make sure that you are subscribed to this channel. Hit that bell notification. Also, uploaded a new Patreon video a couple evenings ago, so please come over, check that out. I'll be dropping another video on Patreon this week, so please come over, check out the Patreon channel. It really helps to support the message. But I want to get right into this video right now. So much happening. And I want to start with this. I was watching an interview with Jim Rogers earlier today. Jim Rogers, arguably one of the best investors of all time. And he said a few things that I noted here that I want to share with you. He says, it's time to get worried. It's going to end, and it's going to end badly. He also went on to say this in the interview: the better it gets, the worse it will get when it ends. And he closed with this: who is going to save us? So something to think about right there by one of the best investors of all time. And he's very, very worried about what he sees. Doesn't say that, he's not saying that it's going to end tomorrow, but it's getting very, very close, and something very, very big is going to happen. And we have to ask ourselves, are we prepared to deal when the wheels fall off this car? It's going to get ugly, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, as I make this video on this Tuesday evening, I just looked at the Dow futures. They're down 80 points. Bitcoin down 2,900 points, 6.5%. Ethereum down 9.5%. XRP down 5%. Litecoin down 13%. Again, as I said yesterday, real serious volatility in the cryptos as we're seeing some problems over in China that could affect us and the entire globe. So I look at this volatility and I say to myself, are the cryptos really a safe haven asset? And I'm not here to compare gold to cryptos because there's no comparison. Gold is gold. Gold's been through the collapses. It's had 5,000 years of history behind it. We have not seen the cryptos tested, but right now, as we see pressure in the markets, they are not doing well. In fact, they are getting hammered. CNBC, market rebound attempt fails as Dow closes in the red on Tuesday. I watched a little bit of this of these markets this morning. Dow Jones was up 342 points earlier today, closed down in the red 50 points. And what's interesting is the last hour, 2 hours, this thing was going red, green, red, green, red, green, red, green. They were trying so hard to get trying to get the Dow Jones to close in the green. It was back and forth, not successful. Dow Jones closes in the red, and right now it is in the red, waiting to see what the Fed is going to say tomorrow. Look, these markets are like heroin addicts, and they are addicted to the drugs. And if the Fed doesn't deliver tomorrow, we're going to see more problems. CNBC today, the Fed will try to soothe markets Wednesday while preparing investors for end to bond buying. Well, there's going to be no end to bond buying, but they may taper a little bit. The Fed will release a policy statement tomorrow along with the economic and interest rate forecast. Tapering won't matter because if they do taper, it will be minor. They cannot stop buying bonds, mortgage-backed securities. If they do taper, it will be very, very minor. Inflation and interest rate forecasts, this is what's going to matter tomorrow. And if there's any indication, any talk of interest rates going up, or the inflation forecast is not soothing to the ears tomorrow, these markets are going to react, and they're going to react in a very negative way. So everything is pretty much on hold right now until tomorrow, until the Fed speaks. And of course, I'm sure they're going to do whatever they can to soothe these markets, tell these markets whatever they want to hear. The Fed is going to continue to buy these markets. It's going to continue to support these markets. It's going to continue to print money, maybe not as much, but it's going to continue, because without the injections of these drugs, these markets will die immediately. The first test for Evergrande's debt crisis comes this week. Newsflash, they've already defaulted, ladies and gentlemen. They are due to pay $83 million of interest on Thursday. What happens if they don't? More than likely, they are not going to. They missed interest payments due to, yesterday, at least 2 interest payments to its largest bank creditors. As of late today, Tuesday, Evergrande has not made the payments. So Thursday's next, and I'm sure that they're more than likely not going to make those payments either. And I would say yesterday, there was probably a 70% chance that the Chinese government would bail out Evergrande. I would say now it is a 50% chance. I want to share a list of entities that was sent to me by my friend Marshall today. This is a list of entities holding Evergrande debt. Now, this isn't all of them, but this is a large portion of them, at least what we know of so far. One of the entities holding Evergrande debt, UBS, Union Bank of Switzerland. It's a big one. Crédit Agricole, a French international banking group, the world's largest cooperative financial institution. Allianz SE, a German multinational financial service company. Its core businesses are insurance and asset management. They're out of Munich, Germany. BlackRock, what a surprise there, right? The world's largest asset manager is on this list of holding Evergrande debt. Prudential PLC, providers of life and health insurance and asset management with a focus on Asia and Africa. Royal Bank of Canada on that list. Nordea, this is a leading Nordic universal bank on that list. Invesco, investment management firm with $7 billion in assets, also on that list. BNP Paribas, an investment bank and international service provider for corporate and institutional clients. Host of the biggest tennis tournament in the world, which is going to be held right here, which it is annually, right here in Indian Wells, California. That is coming this October. PNP Paribas. So they sponsor the tennis tournament out here every year. And there's more entities on that list, but that's just a handful right there. So what kind of repercussions will we see if the Chinese government does not bail out Evergrande? And let's not forget, Evergrande's not the only major development company in China that is in very, very big trouble. There are 4 more large development companies there right now. And these people, my heart goes out to these people who now, if nothing happens, these people could be left holding the bag without even having a property. People that paid to purchase these properties now ghost cities, and these people are going to be wiped out. These investors, these people that purchased these homes could be wiped out. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully it works out. Hopefully we avoid a huge global crisis. Hopefully we avoid a depression. Right now, everybody's holding their breath. The Hedge today, we hit headwinds. Disney shares tumble after CEO says subscriber growth slowed. Shares tumbled as much as 5.4% today. And I think one of the reasons here is people aren't getting all the free money now to be able to subscribe to these streaming services. And so Disney took a hit, and it is a sign of the times. Another article in The Hedge today, FedEx tumbles after missing earnings. More trouble ahead. It's going to cost you more money when you buy something online, when you send something through FedEx overnight, 2-day, whatever it may be. It's going to cost more money for those products and those services. FedEx missed quarterly earnings, and it's raising prices at the fastest pace in decades, ladies and gentlemen. It also slashed guidance, warning about sharply higher labor costs and operating expenses. Things are going to continue to get more and more expensive. Goods and services, ladies and gentlemen, are going to continue to go up. Now, I want to talk about this last article coming from the Los Angeles Times. I reported on this months ago, back, I believe, in March when it happened. And this was a very concerning story where the FBI raided safety deposit boxes at a private vault in Beverly Hills. And one of the people in this article, Joseph Ruiz, had $57,000 confiscated during that raid. And he wanted to know why his money was taken. And they said, well, you're trafficking drugs. That's what the FBI said. So he took it to court. A judge ordered the government to tell Mr. Ruiz why his money was confiscated. They said he was drug trafficking. And clearly he wasn't. He showed proof of where he got the money. And he had won a lawsuit, got the $57,000 in a settlement, and put it in a safe place, he thought, a safety deposit box at a private bank vault. He was only one of 800 people whose money and valuables were seized by the FBI. Their safety deposit boxes that these people had leased out were seized. They thought that their money and valuables were safe. They were not. These people were deemed criminals. Most of them were not. Deemed criminals as the government just comes in and confiscates $86 million in cash, jewelry, coins, and precious metals taken out of those safety deposit boxes. 6 months after the raid, no evidence of criminal wrongdoing for most of the people that had rented or leased those safety deposit boxes. The vast majority of those people have not gotten their money back, have not gotten their precious metals back, have not gotten their valuables back, as the government is trying to keep them. There may have been some bad actors, a few people using that vault to put money there, but how many bad actors have a Wells Fargo account? How many bad actors have a Chase account or a Bank of America account? But is the bank raided? It's frightening, ladies and gentlemen. I bring this article up because it resurfaced again yesterday. And you have to ask yourself, how safe is your money? If the banks begin to collapse, and these banks, as we're beginning to find out, things are not as safe and sound. The financial institution is not safe and sound. Is your bank one of the entities invested in Evergrande, or is it invested in one of the other large development companies in China? Where are these banks invested in? And how easy is it for an agency to just come in and confiscate everything in a safety deposit box? People think the safety deposit box is safe. It's not. And yes, there are bad people out there. There are people that do traffic narcotics, do laundry money, etc., and things like that. But why is it you're guilty till proven innocent? Now you've got to prove where all that money came from. You've got to prove where those valuables came from, where those coins came from. Now it's up to you to go to court and spend money and defend yourself for putting your valuables in a safety deposit box where you thought it was safe. So you have entities that can come in and raid this stuff at any time. You have banks that are going to look out for themselves. If they get into trouble, as we're beginning to see the financial institution across the globe may not be as safe as everybody thought it was. Could we see bail-ins where banks go in and just take your money and valuables? They're going to look after themselves first. They do not have your interest at heart. They have only their own interests. These are some of the biggest criminals in the entire world, banks. All you have to do is bounce a check and you'll find out who the criminal is. Don't keep enough money in your checking account. Check out how much it is just to service those accounts. Check out how much the overdraft protection is. I mean, you talk about the criminals as you earn 0% keeping your money in a bank. The real criminals, ladies and gentlemen, are the banks. But they look at you now as the criminal. So be very cautious where you keep your money, how much money you're keeping in those accounts. Maybe it's just safer to keep enough in those accounts to cover your bills or money you can afford to lose. But I would be very leery of banks today, especially with everything we are beginning to see erupting in China. How many development companies are in trouble here in America? How many banks right here are in trouble right here in America? How many financial institutions are in trouble? Hacking, cyber attacks, all kind of things. You have to ask yourself, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. And if the lights go out, or there's a cyber attack, or a grid down, or a bail-in, what are you going to do? How will you survive? I think it's more important now to make sure that you have some assets and some cash in places, plural, that you can get to in a time of emergency. Look, I don't know what's going to happen with Evergrande. I have no idea. This could all blow over by next week and we never hear from it or about it again. But what if it doesn't? What if it begins to lead to other problems and we witness this contagion take place, and all of a sudden now Canada, Europe, America, we find out that financial institutions and banks here were invested in this disaster and now they're in trouble. This could really have a huge effect. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's contained, and I hope it is. But sooner or later, someone or something is going to blow up and they're not going to be able to contain it. It's going to be too big, too massive, and we're going to wake up one day, and if your bank is closed, like so many people have written me on a weekly basis, bank closed for good, ATM not working, bank closed for 3 days. Take this as a warning sign, ladies and gentlemen, of things to come. It's not going to happen tomorrow, hopefully, but it's going to happen at some point. And the smart money is going to be the money you can get to. Because if you leave it on a computer screen, it's just digits on a screen, or it's sitting in some vault at some bank, be careful, because you may not get it back.